All of this has unfolded over just a few hours. Early this morning, it was pockets of violence from Avondale to over the Rhine, Walnut Hills to the West End. 3 of the shootings were reported within 90 minutes of each other shortly after midnight. In the last couple of hours, we have learned the name of the 18th victim, shot and killed in the West End. Police say 39-year-old Myron Green was found dead on Lynn Street near West Liberty. That came after ShotSpotter pinged a shooting not far away in OTR around 2:15. Officers found 10 people there shot, 2 of them dead near Grant Park on East McMicken. One person died near the park, another died at UC Medical Center. We have learned those 2 are 34-year-old Robert Rogers and 30-year-old Jaquez Grant. 3 people shot in Walnut Hills will survive. That shooting happened near Lincoln and Gilbert. Cincinnati police say it seems all of these incidents are unrelated despite happening within about an hour and a half of each other.
These all seem to be separate, independent incidents, but horrific and tragic that we have this much violence and potential for that much loss of life in our city.
We have team coverage for you right now at 6 as our communities react to this morning of violence. Josh BAZAN is live and over the Rhine with reaction from the folks out on the streets trying to heal neighborhoods. But we start with PAOLA SURO live in Avondale, where police say 21-year-old Antonio Blair has died. PAOLA, that neighborhood particularly, has worked so hard for so many years recently to curb crime there.
That's absolutely right, Evan. And you know, the people that I've been talking to really all day out here in Avondale, they tell me they haven't seen anything quite like what happened last night in a very long time. A neighbor I spoke to tells me that she's been seeing groups of people gathering at the end of this street for this whole week, and to the point where she's been calling 911 several times, just warning, hoping that nothing would happen like what happened last night. Now she says it's too little too late because another life was lost to senseless gun violence.
It sounded like fireworks, like on the 4th of July with little kids and, you know, lighting off firecrackers, that sort of thing.
Neighbors waking up to the sound of gunshots.
There were flashing lights and all that, and everybody showed up right away, it seemed, everybody.
And bullet holes piercing their cars Sunday morning.
And then it sounded like a drag race, like 2 or 3 times up and down the street.
It's here on Chalfonte Place in Avondale where Cincinnati police say 21-year-old Antonio Blair was shot and killed. He's one of at least 4 who lost their life to gun violence overnight.
Where people are traumatized on a continual basis, whether it's just gunshots, whether it's people getting shot or people getting murdered, you add in the summer heat, which kind of elevates everything. You add in the stress around the pandemic.
Blair later died at UC Medical Center. 3 other gunshot victims from this scene were also taken there. We're still working to learn their conditions.
And that eventually will begin to get to you.
It did to Pastor Jackie Jackson. For 5 years, he was part of the community outreach team, helping families and friends mourn. Now, after losing 8 family members to gun violence, he is taking his efforts nationwide, working for the organization Everytown for Gun Safety. When it comes to solutions, he says that's not a one-size-fits-all answer.
We need our politicians to move. We need money. We need a conversation. We need people to get in their heart that I'm not going to continue to allow my family members or somebody else's family members to die.
Now, the investigation in Avondale continues tonight. If you happen to know anyone who's experiencing any trauma from gun violence, or if you are going through something right now, Pastor Jackie Jackson says that you text 64433 to get help from Everytown for Gun Safety. But for now, reporting live in Avondale, PAOLA SURO, WCPO 9 News.
And now community advocates are back out on the streets trying to convince people to put down guns and work to make their neighborhoods a safe place to live. Josh BAZAN continues our team coverage in OTR, now live with what those folks who are really, Josh, on the front lines are saying needs to happen in our community now.
That's right, Evan. We're here at Grant Park, where, as you already mentioned, 10 people were shot early this morning. 2 have since died. I spoke with 2 anti-violence advocates who together have more than 40 years of experience trying to make Cincinnati streets safer, and they both agree. Last night, was one of the worst nights they've ever seen. Mitchell Morris with the Cincinnati Works Phoenix program spent the afternoon at Lynn and Liberty Streets in the West End, where someone shot and killed 39-year-old Myron Green Sunday. He and a group of volunteers handed out water and pamphlets to neighbors calling for an end to the violence and also providing information about resources to find a career. They're hoping community members can lift each other up and hold each other accountable. Both Morris and President of the Faith and Community Alliance, Pastor Ennis Tate, say last night was tragic and senseless, but also not totally surprising.
This is a rough night for Cincinnati last night, so that's why we've got here so hard trying to prevent this stuff. We're just asking people to please put the guns down.
Unfortunately, last night was, for me, a rude awakening for where we are in our city. We have seen gun violence, and we've seen the uptick for the last 3 or 4 months. We had to anticipate that this was coming.
These anti-violence advocates say now is the time to act, to make change. They say Cincinnati has made a lot of progress over the years, and hopefully refocusing efforts to reduce violence will make a difference going forward. They both say it's important for the community to work with police to try and stop this kind of violence. And as for that shooting here near Grant Park, Cincinnati police are still investigating. They don't have any suspect information at this time. Reporting live in OTR, Josh BAZAN, WCPO 9 News.